There's something going on in my house that has me a bit stumped. For the past couple of days, I've had this issue. I'm pretty sure someone is in my house, but I can't exactly prove how. And yes, I called the police this morning, but they don't seem to know either. I'll get to that in the next couple of paragraphs. I'm a 24-year-old female, if that'll help in explaining my predicament. I live alone. I keep a tidy house, more so than most people. My bedroom can be a bit disorganized at times, but the rest of my house is well organized, which is why I was able to detect something was off. I came home from work a couple of nights ago and found a bottle of scotch sitting on my stove. It was my scotch. That's not the mystery. I use it for cooking. It sits near the stove, never on it, and I don't remember the last time I had my hands on it. I was able to convince myself that I maybe moved it while cleaning the counter and subconsciously put it there, and hadn't realized that I did. I'm still not even against believing that, but I'm making a point. The second thing I noticed, which I know wasn't a fluke on my part, was an energy drink sitting in my fridge. I like to drink the grape NOS, but I like to drink them warm, and I'll leave them out for an hour or two to let them warm up. I never put them in the fridge. But while I was running errands, I get back and find this thing sitting in my fridge, which I just wouldn't do. It was the very early morning hours, about 2 a.m., give or take, and I could hear footsteps inside of my house. They weren't on the floor though. More specifically, they were on the ceiling. I have a metal roof, and the sound of something hitting that is very different from the sounds I was hearing. These definitely sounded like they were coming from the attic. But I don't have an attic. I called the police. They were not very much help. Wasn't much they could really do. They looked around my house for entries, but nothing seemed to stick out. I did this myself, but I felt a second set of eyes could hopefully point me to something that I didn't see. But as I stated, they weren't much help. Not trying to take jabs at the police, but it is what it is. I worked the day shift today, and when I got back home, I found a few of my ceiling tiles on the ground. This was alarming. It was like someone had stepped through my ceiling. I have no clue what to do. I had my neighbor from next door come over to help me find a place someone could have gotten it. My windows are always locked. There is one place on the outside of the house that is theoretically able to be accessed and entered through, but it would require a ladder and a screwdriver to get through, and I just don't see how someone can access that without raising alarms from the neighbors. Any and all advice and recommendations are welcome, and because I know people will suggest this, cameras are already ordered. Edit. Thank you for everyone responding. I feel the need to clear a couple of things that seem to be confusing people. First, I was in a jumpy state of mind when I initially wrote this, and I'm realizing that I wasn't clear in explaining some things. I've addressed it in many of the comments, but I'll address it here to hopefully be more informative. The "I don't have an attic" comment was a poor choice of words. I mean that there doesn't appear to be any way up there that anyone has been able to find from within the house. There's obviously a way up there, albeit a challenging one. There's definitely space for movement on the upper portion of the house. Second, the NOS. I completely take responsibility for this one. I did absolutely zero to clarify what I meant. The flavor of NOS that I like isn't sold commercially in packs from the grocery store. I have to buy them cold from the cooler at the gas station and then let them sit out to warm up. I understand that my initial explanation was a bit confusing, and I'm sorry about that. Also, I called my older brother and asked if he would come and check out my place with me just so I can have an unbiased set of eyes on the property to see if I have a conclusion that can be reached. People expressed concern that I was staying in the house, and I very much appreciate not only these users, but everyone who offered advice. I'll be staying with my brother and sister-in-law until the matter is resolved. Edit 2. Culprit found. Not what I was expecting, but a handful of commenters were right. I'll update in the full post when I have a minute. I'm fine, I'm safe, and I'm not in the house. And thanks to everyone expressing concern. I won't be staying in the house anymore. I'm going to find somewhere else to live. Update and clarity. First, a big thank you is in order. You were all very helpful in the suggestions, and quite a few of the commenters were correct. If it wasn't for the insistence of these comments, I would have assumed I was still doing things correctly and maybe dead sooner rather than later. I called my older brother and asked him to come check out my house with me and see if there was something in the house that I was missing. He was able to get a look at the entry point at the top of the house. The screws weren't turnable, and he eventually abandoned the attempt to open it. There was a very unlikely chance that anyone was using this to get inside. The scarier part is coming right now. Carbon monoxide was a big thing recommended as the culprit in my original post from the comment section. I informed most users that I have not one, but 2 carbon monoxide detectors in my home. I was very convinced that wasn't the reason behind it. But if my brother had decided to check my fuse box, which is located on the outside of my house, one of the fuses was turned off. It just so happened to be the fuse that was powering the outlets being used for the carbon monoxide detectors in my house. He said with the recent freeze it was possible that the fuse had frozen and then switched off gradually once the ice had thawed during the day. I don't know about all of that, but it sounds plausible enough. Finally, once the fuse was turned back on, he recalibrated my carbon monoxide detectors, and there were higher than normal levels of carbon monoxide detected in the house. With the heat running and without proper ventilation, I seem to have been doing these strange things in an altered state of mind, or just downright hallucinating. As for my ceiling tiles on the floor, I don't know, but it was near a closet, and when I looked at an old picture I had taken from inside of the house when I first was trying to rent the property, I noticed a picture of the tiles hanging loosely from the base. It must have been one of those things that my brain defrags as irrelevant information and never fully noticed it. The falling was seemingly just a natural occurrence, and my brain conjured up further paranoia to fuel my delusion of an intruder. So that's it. Mystery solved. Thank you everyone for your helpful suggestions and concern for my well-being. It did not go unnoticed by me, and I apologize for wasting the community's time. I'm also going to go get checked out tomorrow. I feel fine and I've been breathing natural air for a few hours now, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Mysterious vibrating in my bedroom. I'm not going crazy, but there's a vibrating in my room that I hear from time to time, and it's making me paranoid. I live alone, and no one else lives with me but my dog. The buzz I hear sporadically sounds exactly like my iPhone, just a quick short vibration that's about half a second. It's not my iPhone, as I hear it when I'm actively using my phone, and it's not my phone. It's not regular, it doesn't happen in intervals, and it's completely random. Sometimes I hear it often, and sometimes days go by. It's too quiet to hear when I'm watching TV, and almost always when there's no other sound. Sometimes it sounds like it's coming from under my bed, and sometimes it sounds like it's coming from the ceiling. I can't for the life of me figure out what it is. I live pretty basic. I have a light mounted on the ceiling, CO detector, an iPhone charger, all in my room, and that's all the electric things. Could it be coming from inside the drywall? Plumbing maybe? I'm not crazy. This is a real sound, but it happens so infrequently. I can't pinpoint it at all. Update. I posted about a strange buzzing in my house over a year ago, and I was never able to figure out what it was. I hear it so infrequently and irregularly that it was almost impossible to figure out what it was. Every time I hear it, I would immediately stop what I was doing and go real silent, waiting with bated breath, hoping it would buzz again. Almost like a cruel joke. It would only buzz after I gave up waiting and went back to whatever I was doing. Even up to last week, I'd still hear it. Sometimes multiple times a day, sometimes weeks would go by without hearing it. I'm pretty sure I figured it out, and it's comically stupid what it was. So I was sleeping in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m., and I woke up and was in a semi-sleep daze kind of drifting. The world was real quiet, and it was a deep silence. And I heard the buzz, but for the first time, it almost immediately repeated it, and kept repeating in frequency, almost like a rhythm. I was 100% sure it was my phone ringing on vibrate, so I start groping around the bed to find my phone, because the buzzing sounded exactly like my phone, every 2 seconds for about half a second. Once I found my phone, the buzzing continued, but I couldn't quite place where it was coming from. It's gonna sound crazy, and I'm amazed this is the source, but eventually my alertness and physical movements woke my dog up, and the buzzing immediately ceased with a grunt. The buzzing was my stupid shepherd's exhales. Like his every exhale was buzzing, exactly emulating a cell phone buzz. I'm decently confident that this is the same buzzing that I've been hearing for years, and also the reason that I've been unable to source it, because every time I hear it, I get super alert and tense, which immediately wakes up my dog as he's super in tune to my behavior, and his buzz breathing stops. Then when I relax and give up the search, he goes back to sleep as the situation's over. That's when I hear it again, and he again wakes up to see what's got me agitated. I also only ever hear it during moments of calm, like when I'm lounging. Never when I'm active and moving about the house, so this would make sense that it's only ever when my boy's sleeping. I'm pretty satisfied with this answer, and as I haven't heard it since that night, when I do hear it again, I'll be on the lookout to see if it's my dog next time as well.